Welcome to another Friday episode of Hold the Mic, where facts matter more than feelings. Do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Hold the Mic. We are your hosts. I'm ryanshead, that's Ian Sherman. Brother, how are you doing?
What up, though, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, and as you all can see, we have a very special guest with us here tonight, Mr. Marcus Flowers. Thank you, sir, for coming on.
How's it going, guys?
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for jumping on with us. I will say this, as being a civilian, it is pretty damn good to have two vets on here right now. Let me tell you, because I know you guys are going to bring some weight to this show.
Thanks for
weight,
having me.
Anger.
Whatever y'all say, yes, say your thing right now.
Indignation. What are you looking for?
The goddamn truth. That's what
Army
I want.
and the Air Force vet. I think we'll serve it up.
There it is.
But I hope y'all don't mind real quick before we get into the white nationalist nonsense that we're dealing with.
Oh my God.
I wanted to mention that it is also the closing of Black History Month. So as much as Donald Trump and the Republican Party are trying to whitewash our American history, I just wanted to thank you both for being a part of my circle and my world, and just give a shout out to everybody else out there.
And Marcus, apparently I wasn't black enough. We had to bring in you. So that's what it was for this episode. So thank you. I salute you. Thank you for joining the show.
I didn't say
Proud
that.
to be of service.
I didn't say that.
It was just a gala last night honoring, Mayor Shirley Franklin's not only her contributions to Atlanta, but to this country in general. So
very cool.
That's amazing.
Going out on a high for Black History Month now, so
that's what's up.
That's what's up.
Well, I think Trump stole the thunder today, so I don't think we're going out on a high.
No.
And
not on a high note last night, but today it's a different story.
But I'm a little encouraged. I see a lot of stores that were affected today by the economic blackout. So it wasn't just Black folks that didn't show up. Hopefully, and so these are small steps that we're taking to show our displeasure and our disapproval of what's going on right now.
I hope this is day one. I hope this doesn't die today. I hope that this starts.
When
you think about the bus movement in Montgomery and everything, and when you talk about that, like how long they did it for, like how long are we willing to put the pressure on the system? That's going to be the real question. And how pissed is everybody? So, that's what we have to look at our ancestors. We have to look at everybody who walked before us and to see how we got to where we are right now and what we're willing to give to this. And actually Crockett said something really I loved about what it took for people to get into her seat. Now, what does she have to do for people she can't even imagine ahead of her? And I'm like, that is exactly the mentality we all need to have right now.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a leadership mentality of you have to reach back and help the people, that are behind you come back up too. And, that's how we get good leaders too. That's how we get the Jasmine Crockett's,
right?
Because she had a strong Black woman as her example and as her mentor that helped her get to where she is. And like you said, people like that have had to work real hard to get to where they are and weren't handed much. They tend to help other people because they understand the struggle and they understand that without help, without name recognition, without a foot in the door, it's 10 times harder. So, I'm so happy to see, these people, these younger people in Congress finding other leaders to lift up, other people to help, lending their platforms to other things, because they don't have to do that. And so I think it's something that we should all at least take notice of. And I'll just end it. Go ahead.
You touched on something that's kind of important to me, sitting at that event last night, listening to Ambassador Andrew Young speaking, his role in the civil rights movement, being a boy from Troy, Alabama, the birthplace of John Lewis, my idol, it reminds me of everything that they went through in order for us to be where we are today, maybe a little bit prior to today, but where we are today and how we stand on the shoulders of giants. And we need to remember that.
100%.
Anything worth having is worth working for, worth fighting for. Hey, this is our struggle. This is our civil rights movement right now.
That's right.
We got to be able to stand up and say, our ancestors could do it. We can do it.
That's absolutely
We
right.
got to fight for what we believe in and continue the fight to keep pushing forward with the progress that they made. Because just remember, Americans
That
are not
gave me goosebumps, man,
and
when you
we have
said,
to live up to those highest ideals.
yeah,
With the civil rights or Reconstruction or Civil War, there came backlash. We're still seeing the backlash from a black president. We're still seeing that right
100%.
tell them,
100%.
Our first black president. This is part of that backlash that we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
So we've got to continue fighting. We got to fight harder. We
Yeah.
all have to get focused, get out, fight for what we believe in, fight for what this country can be.
Right.
And that's what I'm here to do. That's what I've been doing for the last 3 years. I've been screaming this at the top of my lungs for the last 3 years.
I think we're going to have
We're
to
not
get you
done.
a bigger microphone, brother.
I think people are starting to wake up and see, hey, maybe they were right.
That fuck around and find out phase is really in full effect.
It's real. It's real. Yeah. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the show.
For sure.
Oh yeah. And Marcus, you're right about that, because I've touched on it before too. Because my grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman, and when you talk about just the bloodline of America and what we've been, and it's one of those things, and still holding ties to Tuskegee, right? Like, we still have property there, and there's the richness in the soil of what we're trying to hold on to, and then where we're trying to go. This is all very important, and this aspect, I'm so glad that you touched on this pendulum swing of what a true Obama presidency has actually affected people, and people who are like, well, I voted for Obama. Yeah, but you voted for Trump, and you voted for Trump with that in the hindsight of what you've done. So now what does that really say about you? Because you thought this was going to affect certain people. Like, you use the word DEI so much that you don't even know what it really means, what it stands for, and how you're actually affecting yourself. If you're a white woman, that's you. If you're military, that's you. Like,
disabled veterans.
It doesn't mean disabled veterans. Like it really, and what is wrong with diversity? Look at the 2 richest states in America. Most diverse. What's the poorest? It's like
exactly. So let's go back to how it started. It started with all of this woke thing. You'd hear woke everywhere. You're still hearing it. It's woke everywhere. And then it was the attack on DEI and diversity. Look, man, I'm just going to say this as plain as I can say it. I'd rather have woke shit than dumb shit.
Facts.
Because what we're doing right now is dumb. Yeah. Alienating ourselves on the world stage, electing a president whose goal was to destroy government, to upend the Constitution. To me, that's dumb shit. I'll take woke shit any day over that. Or DEI, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Our power is in our diversity. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one.
Yeah.
Out of many, one.
Elon Musk likes to use that phrase. I don't think he knows what it means.
He doesn't fucking know. I'm sorry. No. Sorry for all of you who've never heard me swear. But
hey, man, welcome to Hold the Mic.
It's it's
but
it was infuriating watching what happened in our Oval Office. Infuriating.
And
I haven't been on one of these in quite a while. I've seen a lot of stuff in my day. A guy who spent a decade in combat zones. I've seen the worst that humanity has to offer. But never have I been this embarrassed by our country.
Yeah.
We haven't even seen the effects of what this means. This meeting today in the Oval Office means on the world stage. We haven't seen it yet, but it's coming.
Yeah,
it is.
It's coming. And as wild as that, Zelensky said it. You'll see the effects, and then what did Trump say? Oh, you don't tell us what we're going to see. Nope, you're going to see it.
We are going to feel it.
You're going to feel
it.
We're
going to feel it.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a young soldier, hanging out in Europe, walking around all over the place, and people were, "Oh, you're an American, great." We just wanted to talk to you, just wanted to, be near the culture, talk to us about our, rap and whatever. Kids, 18, 19, 20 would always show up and talk to me, and so proud to just have a conversation with an American, just talk with us and hang out with us for a little while. And I was always happy to oblige.
Yeah.
Nowadays in Europe, it ain't that.
No.
It ain't that. It ain't that across the world anymore.
Yeah.
So
No, it's not. And we had a similar experience in Japan. I've told a story on here before. There was this, I landed there with, you land there with a bunch of new recruits, and a bunch of people on their first duty station. And I had this beautiful black woman. Her name was Brandy. And we would go out to Gate 2 Street and go shopping. And the further you would go out from the bases, and we were in Okinawa, Japan, like the more, rural it got, the less English, it was, and that kind of thing. And we walked into this one, store, and this dude walked in, and he goes, ah, and he reaches across the thing and pets her face, literally pets her face and goes, oh, so pretty. She froze up and looks over me. She's like, what do I do? We'd been on the island for 3 days. I'm like, I don't know. That's kind of weird. But she's like, oh, thank you, and she's kind of like, thank you, stop touching me. But it was just one of those things where you see another culture, and it's like, they go, wow, this is cool. Oh, you're 6'5",
Yeah.
you're huge.
She was Godzilla to him. Okay, let's be serious.
No, that was me.
That was it.
I'm the 6'5". But just being in another culture, another country.
Right.
For people who weren't in the military, you learn really quick what an international incident is, and you learn that you do not want to be a part of one. So you learn to, acclimate to where you are, make sure that you follow the customs in the country that you're in, all those things. And in turn, you learn all these amazing things. You learn their culture, you immerse yourself in it. And it's just an amazing experience. And I think, at least for me personally, it really helped me open my eyes to, wow, there's way more to us than just America. There's other languages, there's other cultures, there's other histories, there's other gods, there's all sorts of cool things. And if you open yourself up to that, and the military was a great opportunity to do that. So I share your anger, frustration. I think anybody that isn't pissed off right now isn't paying attention.
Not paying attention.
And I said this to you earlier. We had a much different outline prepared for you because we've been prepping the show for weeks.
Yeah.
And then all of this happened today. And I called Ian and I said, hey man, I think I'm going to scrap everything and we're just going to talk about what happened today, because this is crazy. My
favorite saying, life happens when you've made other plans.
Yeah. Amen to that. So we kind of scrapped everything to literally break this down, because knowing that we have somebody of your caliber and experience in the military, that you've been in combat zones and all that stuff. I've been in other countries, but I've never been in a combat zone. So I think between the two of us, we're going to have a really good conversation, and Ian can just sit there and look pretty. And
I do best. I brought the dog. He's here.
Exactly. So, but no, I look forward to this, and I think the American people need to hear from us. And as I told you on the phone, I think while people need to hear from folks like us who have the resume to have these discussions, I think people also want to see us pissed off. They don't want any more sitting by quietly spitting facts, because that clearly isn't getting the job done. So let's get angry. Let's start some good trouble.
You don't call it righteous indignation for nothing.
Let's do it.
So all about good trouble in the South.
I do want to just, before we go into this, to give the context behind it. As Marcus and Ian were pointing out, the world is responding to this, what I can only call debacle. And all you have to do is go look at President Zelensky's Twitter, and you'll see that he is retweeting all of the world leaders who are pledging their support for him. And as you can see, Canada, the list is long.
Yeah.
Okay? And
France, Germany,
you literally
ex-presidents of Russia. Yeah.
This is insane to watch.
Yeah.
And to know that the president of the United States just carried water for Vladimir Putin in front of the world, and to see how all the world leaders are responding. They're not having it. Yeah. Oh, and for everybody that said, that thought it was great that Vance and Trump chastised him and said he didn't even thank America. By the way, if you go back and look at when he spoke in front of Congress, he thanked America. So
joint
that was
session
stupid.
of Congress. He couldn't thank us enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's thanked us plenty of times, but he's still, because he is what he is, and he's just continuing to own Trump and Vance. He tweeted out, "Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that." So
he's bigger than the two of those men in that Oval Office.
Yeah.
bigger than me.
And I have to ask, why the fuck is JD even talking? There was two adults, presidents of their countries, sitting there. Who the fuck are you to open your mouth to a president in that manner? I mean, if Zelensky showed more control than I would have showed in that place. And it would have been one of those situations of sit down, adults are talking right now. And then, of course, Trump would have, said whatever bullshit he had to say. But realistically, a vice president should shut the fuck up and just listen. You're not ready. You just showed us on a world stage. You are not ready. Once again, you fumbled the ball when you were over there in Europe. And right here in the Oval Office, you were the biggest clown that I can even say I've ever heard speak in that room, minus Elon Musk. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Ian, brother, that's a whole other show.
That
is a whole other show.
He said, "I got to be off by 9."
Glad you're coming back. Glad you're coming back. I already know it.
Shut up. And that just goes to show how small and weak Trump is, because he's using his vice president to come in and interject these to set up a sitting president of a war-torn country.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that you can
So,
go in.
with
It
that
was an
said-
ambush. It was an ambush.
Oh,
Yeah. It was an ambush.
I'm glad you said that, because it was 100% ambush.
I would use that.
Vance is dangerous. Like I said, it's a whole other show. We can get into that some other time, but let's stay on top.
So, for those of you who may have been busy, have a job, a life, just unable to pay attention, you tune into our show, and for all of our international listeners, let me just apologize on behalf of all the Americans that didn't vote for a prolific business fraud, convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist, and accused pedophile. For all the Americans that didn't vote for that, we apologize. Hopefully we can fix our dumpster fire soon and get back to leading the world. Until then, it seems like the rest of the world leaders are able to step up to the plate and fill our void in the meantime. Hopefully it won't be 4 years, but we'll see. So we're literally going to break this down for you. We're going to watch it a couple minutes at a time and respond to the craziest parts, because again, as a veteran, just as an American watching this happen, I really was thinking a lot about my dad today. I lost him in 2007, and I've wished probably since 2016 that I could talk to him about his politics and just the man that I thought he was and what he would think about this. Where would he be sitting? Where on the fence would he be sitting with all of this? And just knowing him, I just wished I could bump what I'm feeling and thinking. He was a veteran too. This is a new level of insanity that even I, as bad as I said it was going to be, even I couldn't have predicted that they would do this on the world stage. Like, it's just insane. So with that, let's get started.
For 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I
killed,
was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly
but,
right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr.
are
President,
not
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
Let's stop there and talk about it so far.
The fact that he brought that silly statement up of, oh, we need diplomacy. And Zelensky shot him down and gave him a history lesson on the last decade where they were trying diplomacy, trying to let that work. And then Russia still invaded. That was the point.
And then he doubles down on it.
Work with Putin. It ain't about your soft power because they don't listen to that. They don't respond to that. How long have they had sanctions in Russia? Putin doesn't care about your sanctions. He doesn't care about your soft power and your diplomacy. He wants to rebuild the USSR. Full stop. And he will not stop until he's put all of that back together. And now he's got a partner in J.D. Vance and Donald Trump.
Yep.
Russia is ecstatic about what they saw today in the White House. Ecstatic. Couldn't have gone more swimmingly for them. They're getting everything they could ever have hoped for and dreamed for out of Trump 2.0.
Yep.
And they're laughing. They are absolutely laughing at us right now. Because we do look like an embarrassment on the world stage.
Yeah.
And a friendly reminder is that Donald Trump has called Zelensky a dictator.
Yep.
And then when asked if he would consider Vladimir Putin a dictator, he was that's a strong word. And I take that, we'll see what happens.
Can we touch on the fact that Trump looks extremely old and couldn't even keep up with the conversation?
Yeah.
And it feels like you're talking to, a grandparent.
He keeps deferring to other people, if you notice.
Yeah.
He's not here anymore. He's not the same Trump. I'm going to say this right now. He is not the same Trump of his first term. No. This man has heavily declined. And when you see him just kind of slumped over and JD's doing a lot of the talking, how many days ago for their cabinet meeting, Elon doing a majority of the talking, you have to start paying attention to the fact that this man is really taking the back seat, but he jumps in and he's ready to do a fight with somebody with one word that he hears. I didn't know I brought my own crowd that cheers me on for what I say. But you know what? It's what I'm here for. It's one of those
actually
things
for Sade, not you. Sorry.
All right, I'll take Sade all day. But one of those things that I find really interesting is just seeing just his posture in this conversation.
Yeah. And
seeing why JD is taking the leap, even though, like you said, Marcus, it was a history lesson right there.
Yeah.
And he just got schooled live on TV. And Ryan, you touched on it before when he said to you, "Have you been to Ukraine?" And then that stumble.
Yep.
That's when it started going really downhill.
You know, in his silence and in his stumbling, he spoke 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Well, and everything after that, basically everything after this moment, all the anger you're going to see, all the gaslighting and BS, it's happening because of what just happened. Because Zelensky just made him look stupid. And then he sat there and asked him, have you been to my country? Do you know our issues? Name one. And he can't do it. By the way, the fact that these two got schooled by a man whose second language is English, I find that even more entertaining. But the fact is, this is insanity. So let's just keep watching. There's still so much more to go. Oh, I should probably put it back on the screen before I hit play. Huh? We need to hire a producer.
Come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very
You
strong.
will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
But right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You're
gambling with World War III.
What do you think
You're
about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the.
I mean, come on, guys.
Hey, look.
This,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, please.
No, again, I was watching Nicole Wallace today and listening to Dr. Rice saying this is not about gratitude. She's absolutely right. He's not coming to the Oval Office to kiss your boot and sign over all the mineral rights to his country for not a guarantee of security.
Yep.
Who the hell do these guys think they are?
Yeah.
Expecting someone to come and grovel before them and say thank you, Mr. Trump, because that's what he gets in his cabinet meetings, where he goes around the table and they all lick his boot. You're not going to get that from world leaders. And in that one action right there, I think that's the one part. Listening to Trump talk over him, saying the stupidest things.
Yeah, repeating the same thing over and over.
How we're going to feel. I think that in that moment, that's where all the world leaders who responded to Zelensky's post saying, or responded to Zelensky saying, "We've got you." That was the moment where they were like, "Okay, that's it. It's no longer the America that we can deal with.
Well,
We can't deal with this Trump guy.
Yeah.
We're on our own."
and we're
We're super isolated right now.
Oh, yeah. Probably the most we've been isolated in a long time.
And
Yeah.
in our 249-year history, this is the most isolated I think we've been.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see this because it just evolves into a 6th grade shouting match and ridiculous questions aimed at, and he just said, he goes, I'm trying to be serious. This is a war. Like, I'm not here joking around.
But notice how Trump tried to also use coded language and say, you can't come in here and dictate to us.
Oh yeah.
And try to really put that out there. And it's just like,
this was planned. This was planned.
This was, that there was little certain things that he was supposed to touch on. And I said to you guys, in the green room, and I think about it.
Forced talking points. That's all that was. He was forcing those talking points.
Yes. And there's something in that where I feel that, Zelensky knew he was walking into the lion's den. There's no way that he couldn't imagine that coming to the White House being Trump's, but how he was going to play his position. And I said to you gentlemen in the green room, do you think there was a part where he knew that he had to play his part and let them go wherever they were going to go, and then he was either going to allow them, because you saw he kind of just becomes more reserved and lets them ramble on.
But maintaining that composure
and he maintained, and that's the part that the world stage saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the part where I think, and I wasn't saying that Zelensky was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play these no, I think he was more so like, I understand what's at stake here. Yes, he is a battle torn president. He is the George Washington of Ukraine. Let's be fucking serious right now. He is really trying to fight for that independence. And when you're looking at what he's doing,
at least Churchill, definitely Churchill.
Okay, Churchill. We'll go. We won't go that far back. So yes, Churchill. Fine. And in this element though, to see him to keep his composure, because how many times is he going to get poked by Grandpa? Do you know what I mean? Telling him that he's dictating and just stop touching me, stop getting this close. And then for Vance to then take it there. Have you thanked him? I have thanked him. No, today, like right now, like at this very moment.
No, have you thanked me personally?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Me and the president.
What have you done?
Intern, you know what I mean? Like, you've only been here for a month. Calm down. Yeah. Calm down.
Well, and also remember that this is after Trump and Putin apparently sat down and had a negotiation on how they were going to stop the war.
Yeah.
Without anybody from Ukraine there.
How they were going to slice up Ukraine, take the minerals, and let Putin continue his roll on. Was it next Poland, somewhere else?
While simultaneously trying to snag Gaza.
Like, started on that little Jim. Another show.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Let's continue. Like I said, we still got time.
Opposition in October offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
you
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military. If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again,
I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on. I think it's
agree
very important.
with that.
That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
Thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I wanted this. Look,
fucking child.
If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what,
that wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
Is that the only freaking talking point
I do want to, because...
Is that the only talking point they got in with here?
Look, man,
it's gross.
Let me just say this. I never in my life expected that I would see a leader of a foreign nation walk into the Oval Office and look bigger than the president and vice president of the United States.
In the Oval Office.
In the Oval Office
Yeah.
for what just should have been a photo op. Hey, you can have that conversation when the cameras are gone.
Right.
You can argue, and that's the way the game is played. Argue, negotiate. Say whatever you want to say. You're the president.
Yeah.
But in front of the cameras, and they don't realize it. They don't look tough. I don't even think they looked tough to all of their MAGA sycophants. They didn't look tough at all. They look like small, weak men.
Yeah.
Zelensky looked larger than life, superhuman, and it's showing right now. I mean, it's all over the world. They just made him bigger than the president of the United States.
I agree.
But he
really is coming off.
But
he really
He's
is coming off
responding
like
perfectly.
Well, just in general, Trump really just comes off as King Joffrey. Like it just screams this. It's one of those things where
love that analogy. Yes,
that whole little "I am the king." And it's like no man who is king states it.
Yeah.
I could end this right now. That no one needs to make that threat.
Except Trump doesn't have a grandfather who's going to tell him anyone that needs to say that I'm the king is not truly a king.
Right.
Yeah, nothing but yes people around him
He's
doesn't
got
help
nothing but
either.
yes men there.
And if you notice too, I mean, when the camera pulls away, that Rubio's right there, right, very close.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at how much he switched his position, where he was like, no, this was started by Russia, and he was against Russia, and it's like the conversation is circling around like, hey man, Rubio, what do you do? Do you stay little Marco Rubio, or are you going to actually have some big kahunas and resign and show them?
Quiet as a church house mouse.
Yep. Yeah. I have zero faith in him.
The 180 that Lindsay did was the most disgusting thing.
Her catwalk, let me tell you, to see her on stage talking about how proud she was of Zelensky, and then today to just vomit all of those talking points, talking about he needs to resign, they need to find another president that they can do a deal with.
Who was this?
This is
Lady
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
Lady Graham. Lady Graham, as we call her on the show. Yeah, that one definitely. I swear to God, they have all the tapes on that one because she bends over backwards every chance she gets.
I see Elaine saying that Rubio is a coward. He needs to watch out for his own legacy right now. I heard someone say that he should probably resign now and kind of save what little bit of a legacy that he has left.
Right.
I couldn't agree with that more. But is he going to do it? Hell no.
No,
they never do.
He's not gonna. None of them are going to do it. When are they going to wake up and let this lame duck Donald Trump is destroying the Republican Party for the next at least 2 decades?
It's more than just a Republican Party. He's destroying our relations, our international relations for possibly decades. When Mima and Papa are getting hurt because of their Medicaid, their veterans benefits, and their grandkids' educations, and they're going to start feeling it. Find out it's going to be harsh. Let me tell you. I mean, it already is. I posted one today. Lady, she's like, I'm a disabled veteran. She said she had a federal job, that she was on the probation program, and then she got moved and her probation got reset, and they didn't count her military service anymore, and she got fired because she was so low down on the probation thing. She's like, but I've been working there for 5 years.
Probably had an excellent review every year.
Yep. She said, had perfect reviews. She's like, my husband's a disabled vet that can't work. She's like, we got kids. She's like, and I just got fired. She's like, I voted for you 3 times. And it's like, we told you.
Yeah.
Like you thought the business fraud was actually going to give a shit about you?
Right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you thought the rapist was going to lift up women? Only if you're blonde, around 25, 30, and a certain look to you, except for Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She was the outlier.
Yeah. Was never in it for the people. I want them to see that. I want them to finally start seeing that. He was never about you. It's about his billionaire bonies brothers. It was about staying out of jail.
Yeah.
But
now he looks like Weekend at Bernie's, in a suit. That's all it is right now. But it's one of those things where, you see that people voted for him because they thought that others would be hurt. They never saw themselves in that group.
Yeah.
And this is the part where, when we talk about FAFO, fuck around, find out.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part where we're sitting back with popcorn like, okay, You know,
Yep.
we're all getting fucked together. So let's go ahead and get ready.
That's the other talking point I love is when they're like, "Oh, you're celebrating America, losing." I'm like, I'm not celebrating it. I've been telling you.
No.
Like, what I'm laughing about is that, like, you guys are all surprised.
Right.
Like, we've been telling you this was what was going to happen.
Nobody is celebrating this.
Yeah.
We've been saying that for the last, I've been saying it for 3 years, yelling it from the top of the roof, starting with Marjorie Taylor Greene and then with Trump, how this was dangerous. And we're headed to a place, and this is coming from a national security professional, a compliance guy, a logistics guy. I saw how it was going. I saw a successful PSYOP happening in real time from Russia. And now the Republican Party has just adopted all of those.
Yep.
What weight do you guys, do both of you, with your backgrounds, what weight do you give that XKGB? And I know it's conspiracy right now, but where they said that Trump was one of their made back in 1987.
I don't know. I'd have to see some more information on that. But what I will tell you, what I will say is Trump versus Putin. I mean, it's like, guys, forgive me for this expression, but it's like a 14-year-old matched against a hooker. So, I mean, it's just, he stands no chance when it comes to Putin. Putin's going to play him every step of the way.
Sorry. You're right. Doesn't stand a chance.
Doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
You done, son.
Who knows? Maybe Putin does have something on him. Maybe there's a tape.
I think that's
something I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's outmatched.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the analogy again, but you get the point.
Yeah.
So.
Again, I think we have to point out that this isn't new information. 2016, the Mueller report. For those of us who actually took the time to at least read the Cliff Notes, we understand that it actually said in there that we got some evidence that Russia was helping Trump. We just can't do anything about it because he's currently the president.
Yeah.
And so, the reasonable expectation. What's that, bro?
Mueller didn't say he was innocent.
Correct.
He went out of his way to say that.
Yep.
Correct.
I thought
he hadn't committed a crime, I would have said that.
Yep.
Right.
So
is there compromise there?
Maybe. But fast forward, I think a lot of us reasonable Americans thought, you know what? Once he's not president, we're going to get a DOJ that's going to come in and they're going to finally put this dude away. And they're going to hang something on him that he isn't going to be able to run for political office ever again, which is what the Senate should have done in 2021. They should have impeached him the second time at least, for trying to overthrow our government. But
had a spine.
Yeah, none of them have a freaking spine. That's why everybody's like, "Oh, I have faith in the system." I'm like, the system's already failed.
Yeah.
Like, stop talking about the system. It's failed. It's broken. It's done. If the system worked, we wouldn't have a felon, a business fraud, a rapist, and an accused pedophile sitting behind the Resolute desk right now. So, let's call it what it is.
There's a whole lot of things there. I mean, there needs to be some reform on the Supreme Court.
Simple background checks for elected officials.
Absolutely. We've got to tighten up the guardrails.
I'm pretty sure you've had to go through a few security background checks in your time.
Several.
Yep, I've had to go through 3.
TSSCI.
Tell them what it's like. Tell them just tell them, because they hear it from me. I want to hear it from somebody else.
I mean, well, the first time you get your TSSCI, I mean, the first time I got it, I was young, 1920 when I got my first TSSCI. So there wasn't a whole lot of life to look into, but they dig back into your life. They go find a friend that you listed from high school, and from that friend or the few friends that you list, they go and find a few others that they say, oh yeah, this person knew him too, and they talk to those, talk to all your family, any place you ever worked. Fast forward 10, 15, 20 years, and you've traveled the world, and you've made friends in multiple countries. I mean, me personally, I've been in 46 different countries. I know people all over the world. So imagine trying to get security clearance where they're going to want to go talk to those people and figure out who they are, if they have any ties to enemies of the country. So it is not an easy thing.
And I want to.
Right now, we have people working in the administration at the highest level without proper background checks.
Yeah.
There's a reason we do that.
Yeah.
We've got people right now
Trump himself could not pass a background check.
Trump himself could never pass a background.
He's a felon. He wouldn't pass a check.
felon. That's number one. It'd be like
Elon Musk would not pass a background
application. Yeah. So
and what he's saying, just to piggyback on that, is so when you're filling out your form, it literally asks you if you have any relationships with foreign nationals.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is somebody like him who's been in other countries and war zones and things like that, if he developed any kind of relationship, friendship, romantic, anything, we have to report that on that form. And one of the things they're going to go do is they're going to go track that person down to the best of their ability, and they're going to find out the nature of the relationship, who that person is, if there's any risk of that relationship releasing any kind of information that may be detrimental to national security, OPSEC, InfoSec, all these things.
All of your travel. And when you've been to 46 different countries and you're trying to remember dates and,
I can't remember all my addresses, man.
The addresses, the phone numbers, it is a lot. I mean,
it is.
We're easily talking about 100+ pages of information that you submit. So,
yep, it's a PDF file. It's huge.
It's a huge PDF.
Why do you feel?
A little bit
Why do
easier
you guys
to equip system now, but they save a lot of it, so you can kind of go back through.
What's the justification for them putting that kind of pressure on people to work for the government in your position, right? Versus someone like the president or someone that is a congressman. I mean,
everybody should go through it if they're going to hold a position of national security in this country.
What's the justification for not doing it for someone who's going to be the leader of the free world?
Constitution,
absolutely.
The Constitution, the way it's interpreted is that you can't circumvent the will of the voters and the will of the people. So you can't.
Interesting.
Now,
but to give Congress members access to classified information, I think they need to
knowing very damn well that you just put a felon or somebody with a large criminal record, anything. Yeah. But the fact that
now we're talking about appointees, they should definitely have background checks.
Yes.
Right.
Any judge, any of those people, absolutely.
Nobody elected Elon Musk.
Yep. And again, he would not pass a background check. He is a formal illegal immigrant that overstayed a visa. Like, he's got 3 citizenships. That right there, they'd be like, no, sorry. Like, the only reason he would get a clearance is if he bought one. And since we're selling $5 million golden tickets into America now, and
I got my gold card. Here we go.
Who was one of the first? And who was one of the first purchases of the $5 million gold card? It was
Melania.
No, it was Tate, the Tate brothers.
Oh, stop it! Is that actually official? Is that official?
No, but how the fuck else you think they got in here?
Okay, I'm gonna stick with mine. Mine's Melania. That's the first one.
What's his name? Tristan and Andrew.
The Tate. Yeah, Andrew Tate.
Yeah. What was it that DeSantis was saying?
DeSantis said he's not welcome there.
Aren't they at Mar-a-Lago or in Florida? Aren't they there?
They're in Florida, or they were. I don't know where they are now, but
all right.
So Andrew Tate was allowed to leave Romania under human trafficking. If you don't know anything, he was being held for human trafficking. For some reason, he was let go, and they said he could leave the country. So where does he go? He's a British UK citizen as well, by the way. 2 citizenships. Wow, I can't say that word.
Citizenship.
Dude, my tongue's not working. But he could have gone there. So why did he come here? And then who approved it? And more importantly, so we're talking about immigrants and criminals and all. You're going into businesses and apartment buildings and anywhere you possibly can to find immigrants to boot out of the country because they're all criminals. But yet you just let a fucking sexual predator in. But I mean, I guess we shouldn't really expect anything else when we have a literal felon and rapist in the White House, sitting in the Oval Office, deciding what's going to happen for all Americans. And if you haven't noticed yet, he's out of his fucking mind.
Look, brother, I don't think we found the bottom yet.
Oh,
I feel Ryan Rand is about to come on.
That is tough for me to say right now.
I know, but you're right, man. We aren't even close.
We found the bottom yet.
We aren't even close.
That was a Ryan Rand tease, and I need you go a little deeper on that one.
I know somebody else is in the comments. They're like, "Come on, man, I want this Ryan Rand." I know it's there.
It's about to boil over.
When we have guests on the show, I try to keep it a little. we can't damage Marcus. We need him.
Hey, Marcus is not no 14-year-old. Okay, he can handle
that's
your
true,
stripper
but,
ass. Let me tell you, man. That's what it is.
Not a shrinking violet, even though
no, that's true.
flowers. Come on.
Can I just say this? I know I've never said this to you personally. Hopefully you don't mind me saying it in front of the world. But it has always really bothered me that the people of your district would rather have a racist, unaccomplished bitch like Marjorie Taylor Greene over an established veteran, educated, well-spoken, the type of level-headed person that you want in the room at the table when decisions are being made. And for some reason that I can't come up with or understand, besides racism and bullshit and bigotry, is that they chose the dumbass extremist white woman over you. And I know that you would never trash your voters or your district, nor should you. So I'll just be your anger translator and say, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like,
Luther.
like, really? Like, you watch what that woman does, and you heard what this man says, and you went, yeah, we're going to go with her.
I just have one question, Marcus. Do you believe in Jewish space lasers? Because if you don't, you got my vote. That's all I'm just saying.
That should have been the end of it, right?
About all of that back when it was, we did a few ads about that.
Yeah.
The ads were good. I actually liked the ads, but
no, I loved everything. That's why I became a fan. I said, this man is everything.
What really got me going again today was her boyfriend in the Oval Office asking Zelensky if he owns a suit. I mean, that was kind of a triggering moment for me. It kind of brought it all back full circle.
Is that in
why,
this?
Tell
is that
me
in
why.
this?
I don't know if it's in your thing, but yeah.
But talk about it. Because I thought that was fake at first, and I go, "Oh, this is fucking."
No, it's real.
Oh, this
that's
is
MTG's
real.
boyfriend. For those of you that don't know,
So what eggs that on? That set up that scene. What happened?
What's his name? I want to look up the clip.
MTG's boyfriend. I mean, he's not interesting enough to even know his name.
Let's see. Maybe
Marcus, what egged on that comment from them? How bad was this meet greet? This was supposed to be just a photo op.
Look, man, they were just trying to troll Zelensky.
They had nothing left. They had nothing left that was going to make sense. So they just went for the jugular.
Just trolling the president of another country.
This was the problem. Besides Trump speaking over him, not letting him speak, and just repeating the same sentence over and over and over again to try to seem like he's tough, which he would never do to Putin, by the way. He'd cower like a little bitch.
Response to it, though. It was
Zelensky handled it like a president. Yeah. Let's call it what it is. He's a fucking president. He's a real president. And for somebody, all those suits that you got sitting in that fucking room, and the only real man is the dude sitting there with the sweater on.
Why does Rubio look like a boy?
Why
Really does. Look at his.
Why does Rubio look like a boy wearing his father's suit? Just so we're all on the same page.
He's trying to shrink into that couch is what he's trying to do.
Oh,
he wishes he were anywhere else but there. He's trying to. If he can get between those cushions right now,
he would be in it. He wants to be the change in those cushions, doesn't he?
Hiding between those damn cushions.
I'm really surprised that Musk wasn't in the room.
Oh wow!
All right, so this is the clip that Marcus was talking about.
Second question.
My second question for President Zelensky. Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, you have problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting.
I don't have
the
such.
office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe
Maybe
something
like
like
this.
yours.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than Thank you.
I like that. Maybe something cheaper.
He didn't stop handing these people their ass. He really did. And again, the fact that all these MAGA Republicans, fucking, where did he go? He went to some Ivy League school. So did Trump. And they're getting owned by a dude that's speaking his second language.
English might not even be his second language.
It might be his third
or fourth language.
Right. Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. Thank you. So it's like this dude is sitting in there owning a room full of dumb fucking Americans. And like Marcus was talking about earlier, when you travel around to other countries, in 2003, 2005, like there was a different vibe, you know, and now we are the stereotypical egotistical Americans that have zero interest in caring about anything outside of our little bubble and that can't see past our own noses.
I tell you, there used to be, back in the 90s, when I was first in Europe, on AFN, Armed Forces Network, for those of you who have never served and been over States and watch television shows that we would watch back in the States on AFN, the Armed Forces Network. There was always these old commercials. I don't know if they still show them.
We get the Super Bowl a day later.
And that would say, don't be the loud American. There was like this little penguin that would, just walking around oblivious to everyone else singing, I Gotta Be Me. That was one of them. There were several of them like that, talking about not being the loud American in places like that. And, everybody knew the loud American. You'd see him in the restaurant, and somebody would pull him to the side, another American, be like, hey, let's not do that. We're representing, we're actually diplomats. You're in uniform, whether you're wearing uniform or not, you're representing our country.
And they were usually Marines.
And for the most part, again, people loved us over there. You had a bunch of loud Americans in that room, and that's what Europe sees. Right?
Yes, sir.
The loud Americans that they didn't like. So,
no, I'm glad you said that, because that's as accurate as it can get. So I think we're done with this. If you want to go see any more of the shit show, you can go finish watching it. It's an embarrassment. I hope that the listeners can all grasp that at this point. Because before we lose Marcus, I wanted to cover a couple things that I really want to get his take on. One of it being that we have removed a Biden era block on the United States selling arms that may be used in war crimes. And it feels like that's leading to us selling arms to Russia.
Look, as a compliance guy who's worked on foreign military sales, who's fought to keep weapons out of the hands of warlords, or getting our weapons going to the wrong place, we're treading on some very thin ice there.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
And that conversation, Ryan and Marcus, that happened with Russia right before this meeting. This conversation.
That was, I think that was like 3 days ago, if I remember. I could be wrong, but either way, it's been within a week. I mean,
he walked into the room. He walked into the room knowing that this man is possibly going to sell weapons to be used to kill his
that are
own
going
people.
to kill his people.
Yeah, exactly.
And then had to sit there and be berated by a felon.
Yeah.
A part of the foreign military sales is keeping track of those weapons, having responsible people in charge of them, making sure they don't get into the wrong hands.
Now,
very slippery slope. That's just the world that I come from.
The next thing I want to ask you about, because people keep talking about this, and he mentioned it in his little ramble. Can you talk about what normal military operations are when relating to equipment that we use in a war zone? They keep using this talking point of, we left all this equipment there. And it's like, can you explain to people why we leave equipment there?
I think about the tens of millions of dollars you're going to spend to bring all of that stuff back. A lot of these things that you're talking about that were left there, we demilitarized them before we left them there.
Thank you.
Another thing, again, guys, my background is logistics, compliance. I've worked in foreign military sales.
Literally what he does.
Community. It's literally what I do. We demilitarized a lot of those things. And even for the things that were not demilitarized, think about all the maintenance that it takes to do on helicopters, APCs, any kind of up-armored vehicle, Humvees, what have you, HEMTs, tanks.
That was my job.
These are all contracts and things that people do over here.
Yep.
And we send the experts to do that there, whether it's contractors or military personnel.
Yep.
So this whole, that billions of dollars worth of equipment that was left over there, first of all, it's not foreign military sales. I worked in that. Remember, I told you that. We sold those things to that government.
Yep.
It is theirs. We gave it to them. But also what we were doing was providing those contracts to complete that maintenance on them and keep it up.
Yep.
Once we're not there, guess what? There's no more maintenance on those things.
Yep.
So where are you going to get those parts? Well, there's only one place you can get them, here. Where are you going to get those experts, those mechanics to build the parts?
It's all from here.
And that's another thing when people talk about how much money went to Ukraine, all the propaganda there. The majority of that money was spent right here in the United States making said weapons.
It went back into our economy. Yeah.
Back into our economy. All the defense contractors that support all of these local towns and cities all across the country. The money spent here because we make that stuff here.
And that's actually what Lindsey Graham said last week, was that he was like, I love your war to Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Zelensky. He said, I love your war because not one American has died in it. He goes, you have been keeping Russia on its heels, and you've been, fighting this fight, and not one American. And then fast forward to today, and he's telling this guy that he has to resign, and it's such a disgrace of what this stunt he pulled in the Oval Office.
And I also want to remind people that Mike Johnson was criticized when they passed the budget because it included money to go to Ukraine. And when asked about it, this is the one time I actually had a sliver of respect for him. He said, he goes, if it comes down to sending money or troops, I'd much rather send money.
Yeah.
And that response, I was like, that's the right response. Yeah, if we can avoid sending American troops, and we know that it's possibly headed that way, then I would view it to be actually responsible for us to try every other avenue. Donald Trump wants to sit there and talk about diplomacy. Well, let's freaking talk about it. Let's talk about diplomacy for America.
Did that look like diplomacy? Is that diplomacy?
Not
witnessed?
Not any
diplomacy that I've engaged in. But yeah, that's again, when we talk about that, I imagine people get this. I mean, the hard right MAGAs or whatever get this idea. Oh, we're sending plane loads full of pallets stacked with millions of dollars,
brand new equipment, and
it just doesn't work that way, guys. That's not how that works.
And
benefiting people right here. You're putting food on the table for people here in the United States. And, we'll send them X amount of rounds. We'll send them X amount of javelins, which, by the way, that wasn't Trump who did all of that. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. So,
we can have burnings with Trump, man. That's all that is.
And just to cap that, so to give an actual example, we sold a bunch of F-16s to Saudi Arabia, an HH-60 helicopter.
That's part of foreign military sales.
Yep. And in that, one of the contracts that I worked for, we had an opportunity to go over there. My company bought the contract or they won it, I should say, to provide maintenance, sheet metal mechanics to go over there and do the maintenance, but also train them on how to do the maintenance themselves. Exactly. So each one of the planes they sold actually came with a contract saying that we were going to provide a set number of months, 12 months, 24 months, whatever it was.
It's what's called a follow-on.
Thank you. So we're going to come there. We're going to help you because we realize we can't just sell you this stuff and go, okay, good luck.
Hey, here's a plane.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Good luck maintaining it, knowing where to get the part, all of that. So it's literally built into these things. And then if you're talking about you want to bring all this equipment back, I live in Tucson, Arizona, which, by the way, is about an hour and a half from the border. So all of you gaslighting fools in Idaho and Minnesota and whatever, you're all clowns. But if you want to see what a boneyard looks like with thousands of planes, you should come here because Davis Monthan Air Force Base is the house to our largest aircraft boneyard. And you literally drive by them every day. There's C-5s, C-17s, KC-135s. They're all just sitting there waiting. And what they're waiting for is for World War III. Because if we start losing aircrafts, or God forbid, something happens and we lose Norfolk, or we lose a crap ton of aircraft, we can literally go pull all the paper and all the stuff off those aircrafts, and we can have them ready to fly again within days if we really needed to. Mm. And that's the whole point of keeping them. Now, that costs money. That costs contracts. We literally have the Air Force, we are paying our soldiers to maintain all of that shit. It costs taxpayer dollars every year to maintain all that equipment that is not being used and is literally being picked apart. That's why they call it the boneyard. Okay. Now, where are we going to put all the shit that we shipped overseas? Now, again, you're loading everything back up into C5s and flying it back home. Do you know how much that costs? Manpower, fuel, all of it. These are things that the normal American voter doesn't understand, doesn't care about, and they just listen to the propaganda without any kind of context. And that's why we are where we're at today, because instead of listening to the adults in the room with the actual resumes to tell you what is going on, you're listening to a fucking felon and a business fraud and a rapist, and you think for some reason that he's actually going to give a fuck about you. He's been fucking you out of your money since the 80s. You just didn't know it. He's been getting tax subsidies from every state that he does business in. Like, this is nothing new for this guy. He just took it to the next level because nobody ever held him accountable. A $3.2 million fraud scheme in New Jersey with his casino, and he got a $30,000 slap on the wrist. $25 million he had to pay out for the Trump University bullshit. You all didn't care about people trying to further their education and try to get a better life. You did not give a shit that this dude literally took their money and gave them nothing of equity in return. Like, and then you for some reason think this guy's going to come in and magically fix everything. And then today we find out that he's nothing more than a 6th grade fucking bully that needs to be put in a fucking locker with it locked shut. And we should do nothing but put quarters in the little slots, the little breathing slots would be there. And every time we put the quarter in there and we feel it drop to the bottom, that's if it can make it past his fat fucking stomach. I want to just say, hey, Donald Trump, sing me a fucking tune, bitch.
Ryan Red!
I like this indignation. I like to see it.
Oh, it's so good.
Properly focused.
Marcus, I know that you said you had an hour with us. We don't want to hold you up, but we just want to know, do you have anything that you have going on that you want the people to know?
Yet. Don't let him go yet.
I'm just saying in general. Is there something that you want for us to know about in general that you want to touch on, talk about right now? The mic is yours.
Listen, I want you to stay tuned to what's coming next. I'm not ready to disclose everything that we've got going on right now. I am running a super PAC, Hold the Line, where we're supporting the next generation of Democrats. That's one of our programs that's going on. So we're going to be doing everything we can to win back the House in the next 2 years. But that fight starts right now. It starts right now, where we start building up our war chest to fight against this machine that the Republicans got the head start on us for. But we got some interesting things coming in the future, in the very near future. So go to www.htl.com or htlpac.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Blue Sky. And stay tuned. That's all I can say.
Hold the line. Hold the line is going to be the super PAC. That's
I told you he wasn't going to tell us.
No, that's a lot right there. So we'll have that at the attached to this episode as well.
Yeah,
in the bio, so it'll be in there.
Description.
Amazing. Really, really excited to see that. Now, Ryan, what do you want?
So here's what I want to end on with you tonight, Marcus. And again, thank you so much for coming on and doing the show. I do hope you'll come back because, as you can see, we could have other great conversations. So I want to end it with this. And again, just everything we're talking about tonight, I just want to keep reminding everybody that you're a veteran. You've lived this life, and so you're not just talking from a place of inexperience. Right. We have watched the Pentagon remove what they like to call mainstream media or legacy media in favor of right-wing social media influencers and straight up extremist right-wing loyalist media platforms like OWN, Turning Point USA, and the list goes on.
Right.
Then we see the president and the White House exclude AP News and Huffington Post from their events. And today, in this debacle of Oval Office situation, they didn't have AP, they didn't have Huffington Post, they didn't have most legacy media, but they did have a Russian reporter in there. So with knowing all of that, how did that make you feel watching that, knowing that we swore an oath to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and seeing our free press suppressed and so many Americans getting behind something like that happening? What does that leave you feeling, and what future do you see for us in the coming 4 years?
Well, it leaves me outraged, and I told you about in the beginning, I'd rather have woke shit than dumb shit, and this is dumb shit. This is dangerous, and it leads me to believe that Trump's sellout is complete. Putin's gotten everything that he wanted. And stay tuned, guys. This ain't over. Stay tuned.
I know, man. That's
not rolling over. We're not rolling over.
I like that.
No.
Stay tuned.
But you know what? I'm kind of glad you said it that way, because I do want us to also remember to focus on ourselves, because we're no good in the fight if we don't have ourselves straight.
Absolutely.
So, if you're, I can tell you that if I didn't have this show to do today, after watching that in the Oval Office, I probably would have shut down for a few days. Yeah. But we have a responsibility, so we got to carry on. And but I think taking care of yourself, focusing on your mental health when it's necessary, we all need to remember to do that, because this is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So if you're feeling burnt out today, that's okay, man. Go do whatever, go fishing, watch TV, drink some wine, do an edible, whatever your thing is that allows you to just unplug for a little bit from reality. Go do that. It's okay. Give yourself permission, because we all need you in this fight. And I think, as Marcus said in the beginning, and Ian, I think more and more people are starting to see how bad this is. I think more Americans are starting to feel the effect of these bad decisions. And I think more people are ready to fight. So, as Marcus said, stay tuned, because we're not done, and we're not giving up, and we're here to fight. So, we are definitely going to also take care of each other along the way, because that's how it's supposed to be done. So with that, Ian, you got anything, brother?
No, man. Marcus, it's really been an honor to have you on the show, man. Been following you for a couple of years, so I'm excited to see what you have next for all of us.
My pleasure, brother.
And once again, that's HTL Pack. So holdthelinepack.com.
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. That's where they can find you right now.
All right. And so we have Brian Shapiro coming on the show with us on Wednesday. So this is it, fellas. This is going to be
our last Friday. That's
our last Friday.
Last Friday.
So
Marcus, you got to close out our Fridays, man.
Yeah,
We've
man.
been doing this for now almost. This is our second season, so you helped us close out our
over a year.
Fridays.
I appreciate it.
So we are moving to Wednesdays. So we might have to beg you to come back for a Wednesday for some shenanigans and jump into something.
You got me,
especially when you're ready. When you're ready to make when you guys are ready to make whatever announcement, though, seriously, just shoot me an email, and we want you to come back on.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. Again.
Yes, sir. So again, thank you, sir. Everybody, tune in on Wednesday. Brian Shapiro, he's a good dude. He's a radio host out of Vegas. He's had me on a show a couple times. He's just as angry and ready to fight as we are. So I look forward to having him on. Make sure you go download the show. We're available on Apple, everywhere. And I just want to give a quick shout out again to all of our international listeners, especially after today. Thank you for supporting our podcast, but also thank you for caring about what's going on in our country, as well as we know it does affect you too. So just want to send you guys out a little love. But as always, much love.